Good evening, Floss Tube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. I'm back for episode number 7. It is currently Thursday, the 22nd of June, about 5:15 in the afternoon. My plan is to show you some framing that I've been doing this week, and then pausing the video, taking the computer home, and continuing on with Dan. I'm not sure that that's going to work, but trying to get Dan in the shop at a time when we can do a video has proven to be a little difficult. So I thought maybe if I took the computer home, we could maybe film at home and get this done. So before I start showing you the framed pieces, I just wanted to fill you in on a little news Dan and I have. Our son Adam and his family are moving back to Omaha from the East Coast, and in fact Adam arrived last night. Marcia and the girls will get here on July 7th, and we're really excited about that. They're going to live with us this summer until they get a house, so the house will be a little bit crazy for a while, but I'm really looking forward to holding that new baby and playing with Emma. I bought her a new book today. Can't wait to read it to her. So that is awesome news. I can't tell you. I didn't think he'd ever move back to Omaha. Marcia's from the East Coast, and I'd kind of resigned myself to the fact that that's where they would stay, and we'd see them a couple times a year, and that would be it. But they want a house, and they didn't want to raise the girls out there, so he found a job here, and they're here. So I'm happy. Can you tell? I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and people tuning in for the first time, and everyone that leaves comments. Everyone has just been incredibly sweet, and I want to say a special thank you to those that have made their way into the store. I find it cute that they come in and I greet them, and we get to chatting, and all of a sudden they'll just drop that "I watch you on Floss Tube," and it's just so cute. It's kind of, I don't know, surreal, that they're watching me on Floss Tube, but they're just so sweet about it, and I want to thank them for watching, and thank them for finding their way into the store and supporting me and my efforts to keep this place up and running. Each and every one of them have been really, really sweet and kind, and I look forward to meeting many more of you in person. So again, thank you. And with that, I think I will go on to showing you the pieces that I have framed. I've identified all but one, and I've sent a message to the stitcher of that one to see if she'll let me know the name of it, and if so, I'll put it in the comments below in case anyone is interested in that particular piece. I'm going to start with the one that I don't know. It's a Quaker of some kind, but I don't know who the designer is. It's stitched over one on, it's either 25 or 28 count even weave, Lugana if I had a guess. It's done all in one color floss. And if you happen to know the name of it, let me know in the comments below, and I'll share that with everyone else. But I think it turned out really good. So there's that one. The next one I have is Mrs. Claus's Closet. This is absolutely adorable. I love the frame we chose for it. Isn't that sweet? This design is by Shannon Christine Designs. She has her own website. It's shannonchristine.com, and I'll put it in the box below in case you're interested. But isn't that pretty? I just think that's stunning. Absolutely love it. There's beads on it. I don't know, can you tell? Beads and Krennic and all that good stuff. I think it's absolutely adorable. Good job, Shannon. In keeping with Save the Stitches that McKenna has started, and a bunch of others have jumped on that bandwagon. I think it was McKenna. It might not have been McKenna that started it, but the first person I heard it from was McKenna, so I'm going to give her that credit. I had a customer that went to a garage sale, I think she said it was, paid $10 for this next piece, brought it in to me for framing. And it is called Sunshine and Shadow. It's a Prairie Schooler, which I was surprised about. I don't know who I thought was the designer on it, but I didn't know it was a Prairie Schooler until I actually looked it up. But I'd have paid $10 for that. So we've got it framed. Really pretty. There's a couple of little stains here and there, but you don't really notice them because you just see that beautiful stitching. It's stitched on Aida. There's no initials or any. There was no information with any of it. It was completely unframed when she bought it, and but it's like stitched on natural Aida. It's really pretty. And I'd have paid that much for it. I'd have paid probably more for it. Same lady has a second piece that she left. Welcome to the Nuthouse, which is a waxing moon. Again, it's stitched on natural Aida. Got the cute little button. I think we can probably hang this in my house this summer, and it would be very, very fitting, because between 3 dogs, 5 adults, an infant, a 2-year-old, Nuthouse probably describes it pretty darn good. And the last one I have to show you, is My Lady Liberty. It's a Little House Needleworks. Jane, who stitched this, she refers to it as the Amazon Lady. And we've all decided that there's no way this woman could stand upright with these feet. She's so tall and little tiny feet. But it's really a cute design. Jane did a good job. It's stitched on some sort of beige even weave. I probably sold it to her, but I don't remember what it was. But it's a cute chart. She'll probably take that home with her on Saturday after stitching. I kind of convinced everyone to leave their stuff until after Saturday so I could show it to everybody. And so with that, I've got a few more that are almost ready, but I'll have to try and do a video just for those when I get a few more done. I'm going to try and pause this, see if I can get home, make dinner, clean up the background that would be behind us, and try and knock out that video with Dan. Otherwise this is going to be just a real short video to show you what I've been doing lately, and we'll make another one later, maybe. So everyone hang on, or whatever. Fingers crossed. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. And we're back. Meet Lola. Lola is Abby's dog, but when she's out at the farm, sometimes Abby doesn't take her, so Grandma and Grandpa get to take care of Lola. And Lola's precious little paws very rarely hit the floor, so she'll probably spend most of this video right where you see her now, unless of course Rags decides to jump up here and then push Lola out of the way. But anyway, some of you have already met Dan. This is my better half, and we're gonna talk to him a little bit about his stitching and let you get to know him a little bit. I'm going to start by telling you the story of how I caught him stitching the very first time, which occurred about, I think it was 3 Christmases ago. I had given him an aquarium as a Christmas gift. He's been begging for an aquarium for years, and I finally, for lack of anything else to give him, the kids and I got him an aquarium and some fish, and every night after dinner he was disappearing downstairs, presumably I thought to take care of the fish, but after about, I don't know, 2 weeks of him disappearing and never coming back upstairs, I decided, you know, what the heck could those fish be doing down there that's so interesting? So I know you love fish. So it's relaxing. Yeah. How many fish do you have left?
Well, none downstairs, but I got a good collection at work.
Do you still have fish at work?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh. The fish downstairs did not last much beyond Abby moving into the basement. But anyway, I decided to see just what was so interesting about the fish, because in my opinion, fish are kind of boring. They just swim in circles and make fish faces. So I went to the basement door. I opened it up, and you can see when you open up the basement door, you can see down kind of into the basement, and I could see Dan sitting in the recliner chair down there. The TV was on, and I could tell he had my pink readers on, sitting on the end of his nose, which I thought was a little weird. So I came down about halfway, and then I could tell that he was working on something, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he kind of whips around and looks at me, and he says, "You're not supposed to see this." And I said, "But what are you doing?" Well, he was stitching and keeping it a secret, apparently, for some reason that I'll let him explain to you. He was working on his bass. Man bass, sorry. Dan likes to preface all of his stitching with the word man in front of it. So we have man bass, we have man farm, man ship. So with that being said,
ships are usually ladies, though.
Ships are usually, well, so lady ship?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that works. I will let him show you his man bass, and maybe, because I don't think I know the answer to this, why he started stitching after, it was, 34 years of marriage with me stitching almost that entire time. What made him decide to start at that particular time?
I don't know. It's kind of a wild hair, I think. Just, I guess after that long, I finally realized what kind of a passion she had for stitching. And a while back I had my own business, and it's kind of technical, and Julie never really quite understood exactly what I did, and never had the
Desire
skill
to find
set
out.
or to get involved in it, so I just never really asked her. I just did my thing. But we're pretty close. We've been married for 37?
It'll be 37 in August.
37 years in August, so I thought, and you were working at the shop then, but no,
Mhm.
yeah. And she was very involved at the shop. I mean, she was basically running the shop, even though she didn't own it. As far as the whole scope of things. So it was a very good prime for her to eventually get her own shop. And I just felt like I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about it, and just as a surprise factor, I kind of wanted to show her that, hey, guess what? I got my stitching done, but she ruined that, so. But it still had a pretty good shock factor,
It did.
because I really didn't have anybody teach me how to do it. I guess I'd seen her doing it enough and seen the final product, so start off with a very simple dimension pattern on some Ada, and just started going at it, and seemed to come pretty naturally and progressed pretty well. I did it was a bass, but I also did some frogging as well. I found that turned out pretty quickly, but eventually we got it done. I don't know how long it took me, maybe a couple months.
That right side up. Yep.
So here's the man bass.
Man bass. He did a good job too. I mean, his back is, for being a first timer, that back looks pretty good. He had to make the fringy part on that. Is that the lure, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Lola, please, I don't need any kisses. Not much back stitching in this, but a
No.
little bit.
No specialty stitches or anything, but it was a very good one to start at. It was probably maybe a little advanced to start on, but pretty easy. So someday I'll find a framer and maybe get it framed. But
I don't know. Do we want to spend money on a man bass?
yeah,
I don't know.
that was my first one.
Okay, so is that the next one?
Yeah,
think that's the next
I'll
one.
let you kind of explain
Okay, don't show it yet.
the story behind this one. Every stitching project has a story.
So he finishes his man bass, and it's right before market. So he stitched that pretty fast, because you didn't start it until after Christmas, and market's in February. So he really whipped through that first
It
piece.
was the fish.
Hmm?
The fish.
The,
The fish helped.
the fish helped.
Watching
The fish.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So he asked me.
There's a theme here. Fish, bass.
Fish, bass, got it.
Yep.
Yeah. He asked me if I would bring him a
They
new
lured me
project.
in.
Shut up.
I was hooked.
Are you
Oh, yeah.
done? Are you sure?
Go ahead.
You don't have any more?
Promise. Scout's honor.
You weren't
I
ever a
didn't-
scout.
Well, I tried. I failed.
Okay. So, back to the story. Would I find him something at market and bring it home for him so he could work on something else? And I said, well, I don't know if they're going to have any man charts at market, but I'll keep my eye open for you. And I need to add a little bit to this story by mentioning that Dan and I both were fans of Downton Abbey, and we really enjoyed that show. And Dan the man asked me and Connie and pretty much everyone else, the ladies he works with at school, to please call him your lordship or my lord when addressing him. You can probably imagine how well that went over. But anyway, keep that in the back of your mind as I continue the story. We go off to market, And, you know, we're going in and out of the rooms and shopping, and I'm not really finding anything I think will interest him a whole lot until, and I wish we had the pattern. We went into Milady's Needle, and we're looking around at everything, and I turn around, and on the table behind me is a new release, and it's a box, and it's called Milord's Necessities box, I think is what it's called. And Connie and Doreen and I just kind of looked at each other and were like, oh my God, how perfect is that? So of course I had to buy this chart, and got it home, and I decided, in keeping with the theme for his lordship, I took out a silver platter and I laid the chart on the platter with, I think I had a bud vase with a flower in it and a pair of white gloves, and took it over. He was sitting in his chair, and I took it over to him, and I kind of bent over and said, "For you, my lord," and presented him with this chart.
Kudos for presentation.
Yes, presentation counts for a lot. So, anyway, he liked the chart, and he had me kit it up for him. He wanted to try something other than Ada, so we bumped him up to, I think it's Lugana, mushroom Lugana or something like that, and I thought he could try a overdyed floss on this project too. So I chose a couple and brought him home and had him choose which one he liked the best, and so he did, and he stitched it up, and we've mounted it on a box, and he keeps his little necessities in it. So show them your, take it in closer so they can, that is my Lord's Necessities box. It's got his initials on it, 2014 right there. I don't remember which, I know it was a Carey's variegated thread, but I don't remember the name of it. And he wanted his box green. And he chose some purple trim on it.
Julie made the trim, by the way.
Yep,
She spun it herself.
with the drill. You helped.
Yep.
And then show him the inside.
Now, really, before I show you the inside, during my therapy, I'm supposed to say that my name is Dan, and I'm a flocker. What's a flocker? Do you think they know what a flocker is?
Some of them might
That's
know.
flocker, F-L-O-C-K-E-R.
Yes.
Flocker. I've been a flocker for quite a while. People like my flocking. So this project warranted some serious flocking. So if you'll notice on the inside, now this box, by the way, is from Hobby Lobby. I didn't build the box. It was just a pine unfinished box. So I did stain it and sand it, and the drawers.
Flocked it.
The drawers were made, but the flocking gives it a velvet texture. And it's just a very powdered velour, basically, flock material. And you paint the inside with the colored glue, and then I have a flocker gun that flocks it and leaves it a real nice finished presentation for that, like you see in jewelry boxes sometimes. So there's two drawers, and then Julie did all the fabric work on the inside for me. I didn't pick fabric there, she did.
Yeah, it was just something I had in my stash.
So that's a little
That
bit
was
on
project number 2.
flocking.
And after that, mister, what did you do? Did you, no, your ship
Ship.
was next. And I don't know that we have a story for the ship, just that it looked like a man ship to me, so I ordered it and got it in for him. And it's all, I mean, it's if he comes in really close, those are individual little tiny teeny.
Let me use the term. I'm learning my terms. This is called confetti stitching, where you have the isolated single stitches that really, probably as a beginner, you would not recommend doing that, because you end up with, what do you call the things that are in the back? Like the carried over stitches.
Yeah, you can see the carrying.
So there's a few there that you can see the black in the background, where I kind of carried the stitches over a little bit too far. So, and also this, when I ordered it, this wasn't the one that I ordered. There was a different picture on the pattern. So the pattern didn't really match the picture, which
Nope.
confused me a little bit there. But this is a different kind of stitch, because it's all one color, and it's got, what's the fabric? Is it dyed?
It's
overdyed?
an overdyed fabric, and he wanted to try linen after the even weave. So I think it's a 28 count. I think it's picture this plus fog, which is kind of appropriate for a ship. And this one did get a 5th place. That was his first time entering the fair. So 5th place isn't bad.
The framer, I have a favorite framer, but she picked a gray weathered frame for it that I thought went really nice with it. So. Number 3.
Number 3. I think the Man Farm is next. Dan always likes it if I make him a fob that matches the theme of what he's stitching. I don't think I've done that.
I've given you a little slack lately.
I slacked off on that, but we had a ship fob, and we had I don't think we had a fob.
I had a fish fob.
He did have a fish fob, but I don't think he had a necessities fob.
I should have had a royal fob or something.
A royal fob, a crown, maybe a crown or something, your lordship. I don't know. So, but he does like to have a fob that matches the theme. We call them man fobs. So moving on. His next, I think this one, I saw someone had stitched it, and I fell in love with it, and I had ordered it. So
and
when
one of the ladies at the shop,
I think it was
had stitched it.
I think
Jennifer's mom, I think, stitched it.
That's right. Jennifer's mom had stitched this piece, and so I tracked down, because it's discontinued, and I tracked down the kit on eBay, I think, and ordered it, thinking I would be the one that stitched it. But after he finished his man ship, I showed it to him, and he really liked it. So I said, well, be my guest, and Man Farm it is. It's I think the proper name of it is Scenic Farm. And it's stitched on Ada, which came with the kit, and it's 18 count. And didn't you have to use 3 strands of floss on that?
Actually, there was 4 on some of it.
3 and 4 strands of floss, which on 18 count is quite the feat.
And was my first experience with some back stitching too. On the branches are all back stitched, and there's some other back stitching on the sheep. But yeah, I really like the way it came out. It just looks very natural, and my grandfather lived on a farm, and it just brings back pretty good memories. So, and Julie did a really nice job of framing it with the weathered wood frame and the colors that she picked up with her matting.
I think this was also the first time you used blended threads and fractional stitches. But I think he omitted, there was supposed to be French knots in those trees, and I think he chickened out on those, so there's no French knots in his trees, but it looks fine without them. It's really pretty. It usually hangs in the family room over here. So that is what? Oh, yes, and it went to the fair last year. Last year, and got him a first place ribbon. Not that I'm all about the ribbons when it comes to the fair. It's more to keep it out there. And you know, they were kind of thrown when they found out that it was a man that had stitched that piece. I guess you were the talk of the fair, but
for better or for worse.
That's also not surprising that you'd be the talk of something. But it's a beautiful piece, and I absolutely love it. So I think your next big piece after that, well, I think you stitched that next, and I haven't finished it yet because I'm not sure what I want to do with them, but that's part of the Hometown Holiday series from Little House.
So I get commissioned sometimes at work where she would like a model on the wall. Anybody wants to donate a model to the wall, that would be nice. She's always looking for models. And she says the stitchers would like to see more models on the wall, and other shops have a lot more models. And I can see why it's hard to do, because it takes a long time, and framing them, and it's so she commissioned me for this one, and it was fun.
It's cute.
Yep.
Very cute. So your next big one, and I'm not sure, did you choose that one?
No, I was commissioned again.
Oh, I commissioned him to stitch this one. I did let him have a say in the framing this time, because he wanted something a little bit probably different from what I would have chosen, but I figured he'd done the stitching, so he should have say in the framing for once. Just once. Only once.
Kind of varies from the man stitching. You'll probably notice it isn't the most masculine frame. Kind of touched my feminine side there a little bit, but
it's Cross Stitch Nation, and we did actually 2 frames on this one. We did the red, and then this is a metallic frame, metallic look. It's a wood frame, but it has a metallic finish on it, but it's still got kind of a rustic feel to it. It's kind of manly looking. Kind of make that a little more man stitching. But he did he did an excellent job, and it hangs on the wall at the shop. And he put, instead of his initials, he put RF and S for reflections, framing, and stitching, which I thought was nice. And that one will go to the fair this summer, or this August. That one's going to the fair. And then you started the other farm.
did you find that for me? Or?
Yep. He hasn't stitched on it for a while because, you know, he's doing hawk run, and I'm not sure he can work on 2 things at once.
I don't think I've ever done that.
I don't think he's ever done that. I don't know that he's interested.
Totally kicks me out of the cross stitch guild, because everybody has 5, 6, 10 projects started.
There's still the rare bird out there that does just one thing at a time. They're just fewer and farther between. I think the more you hang out with other stitchers, the more you become enabled by other stitchers and want to do all the things rather than just the one thing. So anyway, I knew he enjoyed the other farm so much, and in the process of tracking down the first farm, I had run across this one, which is called Farm Hamlet, and again, it's a dimensions kit. So I ordered that off of eBay, and what are you growling at? I think he was enjoying it until I suckered him into doing Hawk Run. That's what he's got done. Again, it's on Ada. It came with the kit. Yeah, you're good. Lola. Shh.
So far, the colors don't seem to be popping out like the other one, but I don't have any back stitching done, and I think it'll all come together.
It will pop once you get the back stitch.
Lots of color changes, I know that,
Yeah.
in the brick and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Looks good, though. You don't have any desire to work on that once in a while, or?
I thought about it, but I only get to stitch at night for the most part, and I've got some goals on the Hawk Run, so by the time I hit that goal, usually I'm ready to hang it up for the night.
So, and speaking of Hawk Run, that's what he's currently working on, and he's well ahead of me. I think he's gonna be on the 1-year plan and not the 2 to 10-year plan like some of the rest of us.
Have you showed some of these patterns before?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
But
this is the
that's-
map, kind of fits me because I do some mapping in my job, some civil and some mapping type work. So that's kind of why I was drawn to doing the map. Plus, it's pretty neat. It's a little bit different than everybody else's because everybody else's is broken into 12 grids, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part.
For the most part. You know, they're the 12 blocks, so.
So you're supposed to get one a month done, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. The green represents what I've got done, so there's working on the 5th month right here. I got to finish up some sun rays, and that'll finish up the month for June. July doesn't look too bad, but then it starts to get pretty dense.
I hear that hawk is a real.
Yeah, when I get up to here, I'll probably be.
You're gonna wish you'd done a little bit of hawk at a time.
Yeah, 'cause-
I'm thinking, based on what I'm hearing at the shop,
It's cool, but it's very, very solid.
and kind of boring, I hear.
So probably won't be working on the farm too much until I get this all done.
Probably not. And by then, you know, Halloween at Hawk Run will be out, and we'll start up another stitch along for that
Great.
one. Okay,
So there's where we are so far.
lift it up just a tad there. There we go. He's doing great, isn't he? It's really fun to watch that map come to life. I love the corn or crops. I don't know if it's corn. I guess I just assume it's corn. The crops look really cool. Like this little red building right here.
The cats are cool.
Cats are cute. I like it. The only thing I wish we had done differently was maybe change this. And he did eventually. You did finally fill that in, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish we had done something different with that color, but it's fine.
So
It's
we'll keep
looking
working
good.
away and give you some updates.
It's looking good. So tell me, Dan, after you've finished your man bass, why did you decide to continue stitching? I mean, what drew you to do more stitching?
Well, like I said, it came pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not real fast at it, but
It's faster than me, though.
I do have kind of a stressful job where I'm involved in a lot of different things at work. I kind of bounce around from project to project, discipline to discipline, and it really is very relaxing when I get home, sit down, and
Falls asleep holding the
fall
needle.
asleep. Yeah.
I think I've posted a couple pictures of him doing that on Instagram where he's got the needle in his hand and he has fallen asleep. I don't know how you do that, but it comes easily for him. He sleeps for a little while and then he wakes up and starts stitching again like he wasn't ever asleep. But he managed to get things done, so
We may not lead the most exciting life when we both
don't.
come home and stitch
We
together.
don't.
To lighten it up a little bit, I've thought about looking online for a couple bathtubs. And set them side by side and stitch and hold hands across the bathtub like
Like a
have a
Cialis moment.
Cialis moment. Sounds fun to me.
I
That's just me, I don't know.
don't- Our stitching chairs used to be side by side, and every once in a while he would stick his hand out and have me hold his hand and say we're having a Cialis moment. But I rearranged the living room, and they're not together again, so we can't do that. I would prefer not to have a couple bathtubs show up, though.
Somebody could
just
have a
saying.
sense of humor out there.
Well, somebody could, but I would prefer that not happen in this lifetime, anyway. So, I think that's pretty much all of Dan's stitching.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
I mentioned in my last video that we had gone, I had taken a couple hours for myself, and we went, and it wasn't really for myself, it was still for the shop, but it was fun. And we went to the antique store. I needed to find some more flower frogs and vessels so I could sell them at the shop, because they sell real well. And we found a few treasures over and above the frogs. And the first treasure, if you go back to the tour of the shop, the sewing table that I flashed on quickly was one of the treasures that we found. And it wasn't real cheap, and I told Dan to go and talk to the people at the desk and see if he could get a discount on it, and amazingly enough, he was able to get $100 off of that table, and I absolutely adore it. It looks perfect in the store, and
Steampunk.
it's a little steampunk, and then he had I don't know if the stool that was sitting in front of it showed in the video or not, but it was a stool Dan had found at the thrift store, I don't know, almost probably a year ago, that had been residing in the library here at the house, waiting for him to do something with it. He'd bought some real pretty fancy Victorian trim that he was going to put along the...
I was going to stitch something and put on top.
Oh, he was going to apparently stitch something to put on the top of it, but it goes absolutely perfect the way it is with the table. So I swiped it and took it to the shop, where it will probably remain forever. It's working out really well.
I'm glad it's working out for you.
We really like it.
I had big plans.
It
but
swivels. It swivels.
It's got worn in
It's
leather.
worn. It goes well with the table. So, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, what was that?
Nothing.
After we found the table, it was almost to the end of the, we start on one end and make our way. At the beginning, they have the glassed-in cases, and I saw this little coin purse that had a little petty point stitching on it, and I meant to go back and get it before we left, but because I spent so much money on that table, I decided to leave it there, because we had been told that the next Saturday there was going to be a sale just on the stuff in the glassed-in cases, and I was hoping and praying that I was rolling the dice and hoping it was still there that next week.
Yeah. Usually you snooze, you lose at those
I know,
places.
I know, but I figured if it was meant to be, it would be there. So of course I had to work on Saturday, so I sent Dan the man out there and told him to see if it was still there, and I told him it was in the case with the little miniature sewing machines and
Other sewing
paraphernalia.
I knew which one she was talking about.
Yeah. But he called me and he said that it was gone. And I was very disappointed, and I was like, duh, I should know better. You snooze, you lose. And I really should have bought it when I saw it. I know better. But that's, I rolled the dice, I lost. And then
I was rolling the dice.
you were rolling the dice. Anyway. A little while later, the phone rang again, and it was Dan. And he told me that he had found it. It was not actually in the case that I thought it was in. It was in the case next to it. So he picked it up for me, and I don't remember how much it was. Do you remember?
It's like $20.
It wasn't cheap, and I think I'll probably
quarter off of that though.
I think I'll probably put it in a little shadow box thing. But there's my little coin purse with the petty point on it. It's a little worn around the edges.
It gives it character.
Gives it character, isn't it? Isn't
I
that
think-
pretty?
And somebody was talking about it, and it's actually from Noini.
Stop. Just stop. Anyway, so that was one of the treasures that I found but didn't get that day. Also in those same two glassed in whatever cases. There was a bunch of little, miniature oil cans. I'm assuming for
Oiling
for oiling sewing machines.
and Tin Men.
And Tin Men. No, the Tin Men, he uses the bigger one. Because he's got
These are the baby Tin Men.
baby Tin Men. Anyway, he did pick up, he did pick these up for me also that Saturday he went out there. He picked up 3 of them. This one feels like it has oil in it. I don't know what I'm doing with them, but I think they're adorable.
But you're a collector now.
I do have 3, so it's officially a collection, which is something that I collect things. I'm not going to do the 20 interesting facts because I don't think I have 20 interesting facts.
Could you give us one?
I will share.
Okay.
I am a collector. I have always collected things. I've had unicorns. I've collected unicorns, and I still have some of those. But my biggest collection has been Barbie dolls. I have always loved my Barbies. I still have my original Barbies. And don't look at me crazy, but I still change my Barbie's clothes because she gets bored wearing the same thing all the time. But I have probably in the basement and in every closet in this house roughly 500 Barbies. Their clothes. What?
Do you think you have that many?
Mm-hmm. I stopped counting at 500. That includes all the play Barbies. I have other clothes, I have furniture, I have cars, I have soda fountains, I have too many Barbies. And unfortunately, the price of Barbies has dropped to you can't even give them away. So they're probably going to stay in my closets for the rest of my life. Here's the 3rd little oil can. So now I have a new collection. It's oil cans. So I'm a collector. I suppose you could say I have a collection of cross-stitch patterns also.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess you could say that.
You have rocks.
I have rocks, buttons, rubber stamps, books.
Plaques. The village plaques.
Yeah, I have a thing for houses, so I have little. We have the Christmas Village. That's a collection.
A small collection.
The village. It's not small.
It took up our basement when we had it set up.
I miss my village.
You have to show a video of that maybe someday.
I don't
for
think
Christmas.
we have a video.
Really?
I don't think so, hon. Anyway, we're kind of getting off the subject. So those were some of the treasures we found. Dan brought a treasure for himself. It's kind of a project that he will be working on and restoring this beauty. And so it's going to be kind of awkward to show it to you.
Here's a quick peek.
That's part of it. He's going to have to do some rebuilding because this little beauty is in rough shape. It's a sewing cabinet, but like we said, the lid is broken, so he's going to have to either rebuild or glue or something. The drawers are missing their knobs, so in order to get the drawers open, you have to take the lid off and push them out. But when he's done with it, it's going to be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So we will keep you informed as to how it turns out.
Now, what will I be doing to the drawers? Flocking.
Are you going to flock your drawers? I think you just like to say the word flock. Flock my box, Dan.
Yep.
Yeah. So those were the treasures we found on that trip. Going to give you an update on my hawk run. I am almost done with block number 3, which is technically, it's my block 3, but technically block 11 on the chart. It's the schoolhouse. So those poor little children do not have to be hanging out with the ghosties in the graveyard. And I'm really enjoying this stitch. It's a big project, but I like having the stitch along because it kind of gives you incentive to keep going. And I like the fact that I'm doing it just one block every other month, so I do get a chance to stitch on something else. There's been a couple of times, hi Rags, a couple of times this month when I've thought I would like to stitch on something else, and then I walk over to my stitching chair and I see this and I go, oh no, I guess I'll just continue stitching on this. So I must be enjoying it, or I would have taken those opportunities and worked on something different.
4th of July.
I know. I hate this time of year. Then I figured as long as we were here at the house, I would take advantage of it, because probably maybe won't happen again, and show you a couple of pieces of mine that I've stitched that don't hang at the shop. Most of my stuff is currently at the shop, unless it's something that's discontinued that we can't get anymore, or came out of a magazine. I don't usually hang stuff that comes out of magazines, so but a couple of my favorite pieces, excuse me, Lo, I can't grab it if I'm holding you. The first one is a Teresa Wensler. Remember I mentioned unicorns. And I don't remember the name of this, but it is Teresa Wensler. And there you go. Thanks, Dan. One of my favorite pieces that I've ever stitched, one of the most challenging pieces that I have ever stitched. Tons and tons of fractional stitches and blended threads, but still one of my very favorite pieces. I framed it with 3 separate mats. This is what we call an open V-groove. Just allows a little more of that middle mat to show through.
People are familiar with suede mats.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're familiar with suede mat. Dan likes to call me Julie Suede because I tend to put a lot of my pieces that I mat in a suede mat, just because I like the texture and the colors are so rich. Don't fall over. So there's that one, and then, can you grab that, Dan? This one's pretty big. This was a Elsa Williams kit. I think it's Elsa Williams kit that I stitched quite a few years ago. I love purple irises. They're my favorite flower. And in my opinion, purple irises smell like purple should smell. So if purple had a smell, they would smell like purple irises. Anyway, there's a lot of, bring it forward so they can kind of see all of this. I suppose you could call it black work, only it's green, or back stitching. It was kind of fun to do. There's a lot of it there. This is, the colors in this are just yummy, yummy, yummy. And again, I used a suede mat on it. Backing up. 3 mats, all shades of green, and then I put a little bit of a spacer between the bottom mat and the other two, just to give a little more depth to it. I think you can see the kind of the shadow up above here. Lola, you are not making this easy. Get down, sweetie. So that is also one of my favorite pieces, and I'm really glad that it's a kit that's not readily available, so that I can hang at home and I get to see it. Although I'd probably see it more if it did hang at the shop. I just love it. Absolutely love it. So, and I think that's it. I've got Quaker diamonds over there in the corner behind Dan, but I'm not going to grab it off the wall. But that, I think, is everything we have for y'all tonight. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Dan a little more. He's kind of goofball. Do you have one interesting fact you'd like to share about yourself?
One interesting fact?
Yeah.
That I played for the Yankees for 3 years.
Uh-huh. That would be Little League Yankees.
Yeah, it was Little League. I was pretty good in Little League.
Yeah.
At the Zizzle.
And he was the boy. He was the boy. That's your interesting fact?
Well, it's pretty interesting when you play for the Yankees.
Okay. All right, so baseball player extraordinaire there.
The knuckleball. I was known for the knuckleball.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to call that good. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Hopefully we'll have him back from future videos. And you have any parting words?
No.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. I enjoyed showing my stuff to you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.